Hi, Isaiah.
How's it, Keo?
Good, thank you. From a research point of view, how do you, in your own words, articulate RNB's value proposition as well as RNB's market positioning?
Look, from a research perspective, we help the bank understand the macro dynamics that are shaping the operating environment. But also from a client perspective, we help clients understand the same macro dynamics that shape their own businesses. So if you think about this year, for instance, we had several key themes that would have impacted fixed income markets, that would have impacted credit markets or currencies. All of those dynamics, the research team unpacks them in an unemotional way, data-driven approach, which makes sure that the bank is best placed to assist clients in solving a lot of their pain points and making sure that their businesses do well and they prosper.
Heading into 2026, what would be some of the key market and economic trends that are currently at the front and center of the research division?
These are the things that we are thinking about. So globally, we still see the issue of US tariffs. Inflation dynamics are yet to catch on. We haven't seen as much yet, which means that still be a theme that we are going to watch going into 2026. The second one would be the interest rate cycle from the Fed. We would have a new Fed chair next year, which means there's likely going to be some change in how the Fed approaches interest rates, given the political pressure also from the US President Donald Trump, who wants lower interest rates. But at the same time, you still have inflation in the US that is closer to 3%. And then in a domestic economy, we still watching how the inflation targeting regime that is now shifted to a 3% inflation target with a plus minus 1 percentage point tolerance around the 3%, how that's going to unfold in terms of actual implementation. Because announcement is one, but there is now need to actually implement it, to actually compress those inflation expectations closer to the 3%. So that's one theme that we are going to continue to watch. Fiscal policy also is a very important one. This year, we saw 3 budgets. There was a lot of uncertainty, particularly from the international investors, as far as the credibility of the GNU. And we saw the 3 budgets that came through because of disagreement on VAT. Yes, that provided lessons for the MTBPS, which was delivered in a smooth manner, but also well received. But we still have some question marks on whether what they tabled at the MTBPS is going to be implemented going into next year. In particular, we worry about the primary surplus. It looks too large to actually deliver, but we also worry about the ability to control spending going into a local government elections next year. So we will be watching the fiscal policy quite closely. But there is also a tax revenue collection perspective from the mining sector. Commodity prices have been doing well, but we haven't seen the mining royalties pick up, which means that could provide a tailwind for the fiscus. So we will be watching that theme very closely going into next year. From a demand perspective, what we have been disappointed on this year has been the lack of investment for the first 2 quarters of the year. Yes, we saw a pickup in the 3rd quarter, but it's not nearly enough to provide us with a trend. Business confidence remained quite depressed. We came into the year thinking investment was going to be the main driver, but it wasn't. The consumer continued to drive much of the growth in the economy. So that's a theme that we're going to be digging deep to say, why is confidence still quite low despite the optimism that we are seeing from financial markets? And why aren't we seeing the fixed investment that we thought would come on the back of economic reforms? So that's a major theme that we'll be tracking next year. But also there's another one, which is the consumer. The consumer have been pretty much the driver of growth this year. We had 2-pot system on the back of last year, lower inflation, interest rate cuts, all of that helped the consumer. Is it going to be sustainable going into next year? That's a big question that we have. We haven't seen much of the jobs. Consumer confidence also remained quite low. So that's why we will be also putting a focus on the consumer to say, is it going to be sustainable as a driver of growth as we move into next year? Unfortunately, we have a lot of internal data that we can use within the FirstRand Group from FNB, which can give us almost real time understanding of what's happening in the consumer dynamics, which we think this is going to be quite unique for clients to get a better understanding of.
Thank you. And how do you ensure that research collateral is translated into actionable strategies for both the sales and trading divisions?
We work in a collaborative process with our sales and trading division. Yes, research views are independent. We construct the research views independently of sales and then trading. But once the research views have been published, we have engagements with sales and trading to say this is how we see the different asset classes performing, and then they are positioned on the basis of the research views by and large. So that makes sure that the research views are always integrated in how our sales team engages clients, but also in how our trading team takes positions on the market.
Over the years, clients have voted RNB as the best fixed income and FX house 8 times. What role has digital analytics and technology played in ensuring that there is efficient and timeous accessibility of research collateral to the institutional clients?
Look, for us, winning the Spire Award 8 times out of 9 years, it's very important. It validates that the service that we bring to clients is of such a high quality relative to our peers. And this talks not just to research. Research is one component. It's pricing, it's market making. It is the speed of response to clients, but also it is the relevance of the themes that we bring to the clients from a research perspective that helps them solution for their own businesses. And digital platforms across everything that we assist clients with, the service that we provide, whether be it from a trading perspective, from a sales perspective, from a research perspective, they enhance our ability to respond to clients quickly with relevant information that helps clients in decision making.